This presentation about love and healing, and my name's Steve Wieneman. Today's October 1, 2017, and let's get going. I'm going to talk about, like I said, love and healing. So the outline is as shown here, and let's see, go to the next page. So for the introduction, who am I? My name is Steve Wieneman, and I'm a retired career system administrator. I worked for over 30 years for Motorola and the companies that my job was sold to. I maintained that position through 19 layoffs, well, actually more than that, almost 40 individual series of layoffs, and finally retired this year. And so what kind of special expertise do I have? My entire job history has been to fix problems, okay? And I'm not classically trained as a psychologist, as a philosopher, as any of that. I'm just, I market myself as being a quick study and a problem solver. So why this subject? Why am I going to talk about love and healing today? Well, I'll tell you, it's my enthusiasm for a documentary that just came out. It was the one by Ken Burns and Lynn Novick about the war in Vietnam. And I think that there's a lot of hope for this, and I want to go into detail as to why I have such hopes for this kind of thing. But let's talk about my understanding is that there are some confusions about love itself and its role in healing. And so let's go straight to it. Okay? Alright, so the first thing we'll talk about, the three main points. Love versus emotion, and then after that we'll talk about emotion and harm, and then love and resolution. So those are the main subject areas of this talk. So first, love versus emotion. Emotions are characterized by their ability to blind us, okay? But love doesn't. There are two kinds of love. Selfish love makes us blind. You know the whole thing about falling in love as a teenager or whatnot. That kind of love makes you a little dumber than you have been before. And it's because of what emotions do to our thinking abilities. Whereas selfless love, unselfish, is different. It doesn't blind us. It actually makes us curious, and hence I don't regard that as an emotion per se. All other emotions reduce our ability to think to the degree that we entertain them. Okay? And so I think that love itself, the selfless kind, not the selfish love, the selfless love, the subjective feeling is that it actually comes out of us. And my private consideration is that it comes out of our higher self or our soul or whatever you call that. All right? So, now let's talk about emotion and harm. Okay? Let's go into more detail. If you remember Frank Herbert's Dune trilogy, science fiction, there's the litany of fear. And the very first line of that says, "Fear is the mind killer." Okay? And I will generalize that to include all emotions, because to the degree that you have emotions, they tend to cloud our thinking. And as a professional troubleshooter, getting emotional is a certain way to blind myself, especially if I think I have the solution to a problem and I try it and it doesn't work. Usually I'll find myself in denial even about the negative results of what I've just done. You have to clarify your thinking in order to solve problems. Okay? And so on a human scale, a lot of healing arts these days talk about how our stuck emotional patterns can get us into trouble. And emotional patterns can get stuck not because normal emotions flow, they constantly change, but when the emotions themselves cripple thinking patterns, our mind is thereby crippled, and we cannot change our thoughts so as to learn what we need to learn to unstick the emotions. So the emotions, the mind-killing aspect of emotions, cripple our thinking. By the way, all of this is my opinion of stuff, as if you hadn't noticed. You can find all kinds of books by professionals, telling you, all kinds of academic approaches, but I'm a fixer by trade, and this is what I do. Okay, so the final subject then is how love and resolution go hand in hand. Okay? So I may have mentioned it already, but I actually equate in my understanding of love, unselfish love, I'll look for curiosity to be close at hand. And in fact, there are times when I think that curiosity and unselfish love are the very same thing. And because curiosity frees up our innate mental healing ability. Okay? Curiosity is like an energy that comes out of us and makes us ask questions, whereas we weren't asking questions before. If you're in the grip of an emotion, you're not, unless your emotion is simply to find more booze, or find more drugs, or find more sex, or a simple attraction, you might say, where's more of this? But even that's a mental operation. Whereas if you calm down and think clearly, all of your master criminals are good at calming themselves down, as you might imagine. That's how you free up the innate mental healing abilities. We have the ability to heal ourselves, and there are examples of that. Examples include, there's almost a fad in the past 10-15 years called emotional freedom techniques, or emotional healing techniques, where there are procedures that one can apply that somehow reduce the effect of emotions, and suddenly a person almost heals himself. Do any of you remember the primal scream, which was way back in the 1980s? Something like that. Once again, that was another method where you would just tire out the body's ability to maintain emotions through a lot of screaming, and you'd sit up and suddenly put the pieces of puzzles together, and suddenly, you fix problems that way. Even standard talk therapy. The idea is that if you sit and you talk to someone who is generally calm and writes things down, they're going to reduce the emotional content of what you're talking about, and you can find, the answers to your problems that way. And of course, an example that I'm hopeful of is this documentary that just came out. Ken Burns and Lynn Novak together, and their team have just a lot of gratitude on my end for their work in creating this stupendous documentary, The Vietnam War. I've just finished watching it for the first time, and I may be watching it more, maybe one or more times. It's just a heck of a piece of work, but it's the information. One of the signs that you're learning significant stuff is that you'll then become more curious about what are the pieces of the puzzle that haven't been filled in yet. Okay? So these are my comments on love and healing. And my summary statement then is, in yourself and your dealings with other people, and in your ability to fix problems, do not trust what appears to be love unless it demonstrates genuine curiosity. Okay? And do not trust it even in yourself. If you're kidding yourself and telling you that you love someone, or love, your car or your computer or anybody or anything, if it doesn't make you curious enough to look beyond your own preconceived notions and give those up so that you can ascertain the truth, don't trust it. So that's what I have to offer today. So I have no idea if this helps anybody, but these are techniques and methods that I've made an awful lot of money with over the years, and they may help you. I'm a non-degreed professional, and I've learned what I've learned in the field. So there you go. Wherever you are and whatever you believe yourself to be doing, I bid you a good day.